Catherine Engel was on the board of Lincoln City Libraries and the Nebraska Art Association. She was the first woman elected to the Lincoln Board of Education. She and her late husband John received a Mayor's Arts Award in 1999. Charles Bowling II played many different instruments and taught music, voice, and the history of music for Lincoln Public Schools. He performed at the Lincoln Community Playhouse and directed the choir at Lincoln City Church. The Reverend Don Coleman hosted the Old Time Gospel Show on KFOR Radio for 14 years. Ron Colin was a supporter of the Lincoln Midwest Ballet Company. He was a board member emeritus of the organization and performed for many years with the cast of The Nutcracker. Patsy Davidson and her late husband Sam were major supporters of the Lincoln Community Playhouse, where they were frequent performers. For many years, Patsy sponsored the Mayor's Arts Award for Theater, which was named in Sam's honor. Barbara Day was known as a great storyteller and served as treasurer of Lincoln Symphony Orchestra. Lana Flagtwet was a former board member of the Nebraska Foundation for the Humanities, serving as treasurer and as chair of the Governor's Lecture Committee. Vincent Goeres served as president and treasurer of the Lincoln Community Playhouse Board. He and his wife led several London trips to benefit the Playhouse. He was also a longtime volunteer at the State Historical Society and wrote a book on aviation history. Thomas Gorham volunteered for Nebraska Public Television and served on the boards of Lincoln Symphony Orchestra and the Lincoln Community Playhouse. Dr. Bill Griffin was a devoted supporter of the arts, serving as president of Lincoln Symphony Orchestra and as a board member of the Omaha Symphony. He was also a commissioner of Nebraska Educational Television. He won a Mayor's Arts Award in the year 2000. Laura Hurlbut was a docent at the Sheldon Art Gallery. Richard Jensen was a senior research anthropologist for the State Historical Society and published many articles, manuscripts, and books. Riley Kubik was a member of the Nebraska Wesleyan Symphonic Band and a former member of the Lincoln East Marching and Symphonic Bands. Barbara Matley taught art for Lincoln Public Schools, Southeast Community College, and at her home studio. Levon Pickle was a life member of the Lincoln Community Playhouse Guild. Arts patron and art collector Kai Roman received both the Governor's and Mayor's Arts Awards. He was honored by the Sheldon Art Museum and the Museum of Nebraska Arts and served on the boards of both organizations. He was a strong supporter of Opera Omaha and the UNL Opera program and served as chairman of the Nebraska District of the Metropolitan Opera National Council auditions. Realtor and business owner Lynn Rustad was a member of Lincoln Symphony Orchestra Guild. Mike Seacrest was president of the Nebraska Art Association and played a big role in the construction of the Sheldon Museum of Art. She received a Mayor's Arts Award in 2008. She hosted shows on KOLN KGIN TV and on Nebraska Public Television and helped lead celebration balls for the centennials of Lincoln and Nebraska. Phyllis Spahn owned fringe and tassel costumes for over 30 years. She was in the Chancel Choir and Bell Choir at Christ United Methodist and was active on and off stage for many years at the Lincoln Community Playhouse. The Reverend Charles Stephen Jr. hosted the radio show All About Books on NET Radio and reviewed books for the Lincoln Journal-Star for decades. He was presented with the Mayor's Arts Award for Literary Heritage in 2010. Janice Strange hosted a children's show for KOLN KGIN in the early 1960s. She performed in several Gilbert and Sullivan musicals at the Lincoln Community Playhouse and sang in several local choirs. Judge Samuel Van Pelt served on the board of the State Historical Society Foundation and facilitated oral histories of hundreds of people. He also wrote one book and co-authored another. Michael Veek was an instrumental music teacher for 38 years and an organist at 3 Lincoln churches. He was the executive director of the Nebraska Music Educators Association and a member of that group's Hall of Fame. Veek was a charter member of the UNL Band Alumni Association and was the voice of the Cornhusker Marching Band for 30 seasons.